This is how you can answer cloning questions. Well, cloning is a very simple and short process, and I think it's easy to answer questions under this process because the questions repeats themselves. So the first thing you need to know in this process is what is cloning. So the answer is it is the production of genetically identical organism. Another one advantages of cloning is that it produces organisms with desired characteristics or traits. Another one, it is important for conservation of threatened species. It also creates organs for transplant. So another one, disadvantages of cloning. The answer is that it reduces genetic variation. It is also expensive. So another one, they will say describe the process of cloning. The process of cloning, it states that the nucleus of an ovum is removed and replaced with the nucleus of a somatic donor cell. The zygote is stimulated for mitosis to occur. The embryo is then placed into the uterus of an adult female. So this is what you have to write when they say describe the process of cloning. Write it in point form as I did so that you can get your full mark. So there's this other common question that I usually see in cloning questions. Look at number 2.2.2. They say explain why the nucleus of a muscle cell was used and not the nucleus of a sperm cell. Let's look at the question this side. This question this side, 2.3.3. State why an ear cell was used and not an ovum. These questions are the same. And how do you answer this type of a question? You're going to say that an ear cell is diploid, whereas an ovum is haploid. That's all. Well, this side you're going to say the muscle cell is diploid, whereas the sperm cell is haploid. That's all. So let's look at another question. They say explain why the nucleus of an ovum was removed. So now we'll have to read the statement. So they say a farmer decided to have his best meat producing bull cloned, right? So he wants to clone his best meat producing bull. So let's look at the statement here. The following steps were used in the process. The first step, a muscle cell was taken from the bull and the nucleus was removed. So here they're talking about that bull with desired characteristic, right? So they took the muscle cell and they took the nucleus of that muscle cell. Now we have the nucleus of the muscle cell here. An ovum was taken from a cow and the nucleus was removed and discarded. When you see the word discarded, it means that this sentence is talking about a cow that is going to be used as a surrogate, right? So an ovum was taken from a cow and the nucleus was removed and discarded. Why was it discarded? Because they do not want they do not want the genetic material of this cow, but they want the ones of that bull that produces best meat, right? So they went to take out the nucleus and remove it and take the nucleus of the first bull and place it into the ovum, right? The nucleus from the muscle cell was placed in the empty ovum. This is what I was explaining. The ovum was given an electric shock to stimulate normal cell division to produce an embryo. So this process takes place so that an embryo can be produced. The embryo is placed in the uterus of a surrogate cow where it developed into a clone. So the first question, what is cloning? I told you cloning is the production of genetically identical organisms. The second question, explain why the nucleus of a muscle cell was used and not the nucleus of a sperm cell. Because the muscle cell is diploid, whereas the sperm cell is haploid. That's all. Explain why the nucleus of the ovum was removed. I answered this. The nucleus of an ovum was removed to remove the genetic material of the cow so that the genetic material of the best producing meat bull is present. The next question, explain why the nucleus of an ovum was removed. No, the last question, explain, give one benefit of cloning. I talked about this as well. It produces organisms with desired traits. So now let's look at the next set of questions. They say, according to the extract, state one advantage of cloning. Cloning allows the production of organisms with desired characteristics. So if they say according to the extract, please go back to the extract and take out your answer there. Copy your answer from the extract, because if you write an answer that you knew from the process of cloning that is not here on the extract, you'll get it wrong. Now, another one, disadvantage of cloning. They mentioned genetic variation. They mentioned that cloning is an expensive procedure, so you should write those two. State why the donor cell was taken from LMJC 865 and not from any other cow, because this cow has a high average milk yield, or you can say it has desired characteristic of whatever. You can take it from the extract. State why an ear cell was used and not an ovum. We talked about this. Ear cell is diploid, whereas an ovum is haploid. Now they say briefly describe the process of cloning. I gave you an answer. The nucleus of an ovum is removed and replaced with the nucleus of somatic donor cell. The zygote is stimulated for mitosis to occur. The embryo is then placed into the uterus of an adult female. So thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.